Everyone to an episode of the No Prize Podcast. I am Johnny the Machine Hughes, and this guy, it's Lucas. Hey, how's it going, my friend?
Man, loving the weekends, man. A time for flip flops, toes up, and some beer tops to get popped off, man. You know how it is, man. Loving
True
that.
True that. We are professorless this weekend, as it is Terrific Con, and he has decided he'd rather spend time smooching with comic book creators than hang out with us and probably this Secret Invasion. But
Yeah, that guy. Oh my goodness.
So that seems like a great point to start. Secret Invasion, Lucas. The last two episodes have dropped. And what do we think? Where are we at with this?
Secret Invasion, man. Well, was it the? I mean, this is the last. That was the last episode, right? That was it, right?
That's it. We're done.
That was it for us. So I mean, I guess we can do spoilers, right? I mean, because it's coming out.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, look. So, main point is, Skrulls freaking lost their home. They came to Earth. A long time ago. First touchdown was with Captain Marvel and the whole thing, and Nick Fury and his partner, they were going through the whole thing. Turned out the part was actually a Skrull and everything. That brings us to the current day because apparently Nick Fury at some point decides to go off, find them a home, and while they were all trying to find those guys a home, million Skrulls came to Earth and replaced everybody.
A fair few
And
people,
then,
for sure.
yeah, just a few people, and not just a few people, just a few important people. They were just going to take over the whole shebang. Nick Fury comes back to Earth, finds it out, and there's this whole thing going on, and it's one of these very timely type of series, right? I'll give it that, right? It's maybe it'll not be as good a year from now, but it's very timely with everything that a lot of people have been speculating on. Number one, UFOs. Congress right now, our actual U.S. Congress, they're all in a tweet about fucking, excuse my language, about UFOs and aliens, right? They're actually asking questions about, like, have we made an agreement pact with aliens?
I mean, this sort of shenanigans was live and proud when X-Files was around. Remember X-Files? The truth is out there. That X-Files show started this whole conspiracy that there's aliens among us and all that sort of shindig. For those people who have a more mature age than Lucas, we may remember the X-Files.
No, I remember the X-Files. I was an X-Files. I was a believer. The smoking man. He was the, the original. Well, he wasn't the original, but he was the Nick Fury type deal.
Yeah, that's a shout. That is a good shout. Yeah.
And his thing. So look, we've had this type of stuff before. Oh, and the other time stuff is, our current conflicts with a certain other big country. Please don't hack us, Russia. I'm just shouting that out. So it's kind of shouting this out and trying to make it people understand. It feels like it's trying to make people understand like how big things can go wrong and how quickly things can go wrong. And that's been a lot of movies that I've actually just watched lately, to include Mission Impossible, which just came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Mission Impossible is you talk about timely. That movie's all about AI, and it's like, oh my god, it's unbelievably on point.
Yeah.
So,
genetic modifications, that was a big thing as well. So there's a lot of stuff that they threw in here to kind of form and I get it. So a lot of people were upset because they didn't take the original Secret Invasion storyline and just run with it. But look, the world is a lot different than when the original story came out, and they were making it more realistic with actual stakes, with actual things that could happen if this were to go down this road. So I'm liking it for how it is, like as a piece all together and how they
Okay.
put it out.
Hmm.
Now,
I'm on
I
the
would,
opposite side of this fence. I will tell you that now.
well, because look, I'll tell you what, like going episode by episode, that is not that is not for the weak. All right, um, it was like, oh my god, where are we at? Even with characters that I knew, and I was like, oh my god, oh, and they're like trying to keep us in with like, oh hey, this person died and this person got killed. Like, oh my god, but when you string it along and you can put it all together and you put it against the background of everything that's going on. Even this episode right here that dropped this week was so freaking timely. It's amazing. So I gotta give them a props for
All right. Okay. Well, so timeliness is one thing.
Mhm.
The lack of a cohesive ending is another. The
Sure.
fact that it's, how long has Rhodey been? I'm going spoilers. How long has Rhodey been? Obviously, a skull in the machine. When he comes out, he can't walk. Does that mean he couldn't have been a Skrull when he lost his legs? Because if he'd lost his legs, he would have turned into a Skrull then. So that means it must be after he lost his legs or the use of his
Mm.
legs. But has he been that long since? You know, it's got to the point where I genuinely don't care. I really, I, I just don't understand how this has gone so terribly wrong. Um, I get where you're coming from with the timely aspect. Um, I just think, I just don't think there was enough. And the Super Skrull battle,
Yeah.
it was
Like
nearly enough. It
it
was
was
nearly
mid,
enough.
very mid. Yeah.
And then
So yeah.
it's like, and then it felt like they'd written themselves into a corner. And at the end of the episode, Fury goes back up into his spaceship, ready for the Marvels movie.
Yep.
At which point, has he actually affected anything? And if that's the case, then what's the whole point of the whole thing? The British chick did more than he did. So I think to myself, what was the point? Nothing's changed. As a piece of as an
Well,
entertainment piece of our times, of the current times, yeah, it might have some relevance to it, but other than that, I don't need to watch Secret Invasion to go and enjoy Marvels.
mm.
And I think as an idea, I think Marvel have lost track of their interconnectivity somewhat.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think is their plan, right? Because just like you said, he just goes up into a spaceship, but in the meantime, the Secret Invasion war continues. They're going to continue to try and hunt down these scrolls. Um, are they going to do a Secret Invasion secret another season?
I think
And
I
I don't
honestly don't
understand.
know. I don't understand. I don't know. I'm not. Disney don't know. Bob Iger doesn't call me up and say, "Machine, what should we do?" Because if I had, I would have said, "Do something different." Um, I don't know. It goes somewhere to validating the Skrulls as a bad guy, doesn't it? Because when they're introduced into Captain Marvel movie, they're just a peace loving people looking for a place to hang out. Which is a far cry from the Skrulls that we've known in the comic books for so long. So if there's anything, it has, the Skrulls are going to be on the back foot. They're going to be hunted. They're going to try and therefore, you know, fight their corner. So, so I think that's probably where it's going to go. I don't know if it goes anywhere. To be honest, I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier. We haven't visited them since it ended. We haven't gone over to One Division. Although you could argue that Doctor Strange sequel was a Wonder movie, not a Doctor Strange movie. But
Mm.
uh, I don't know. I'm kind of. I watched Secret Invasion for the pod for the that's why I watched it for, so I could talk about it with you guys. Um, if I didn't have the pod, would I watch it after the first episode? Probably not.
Hmm.
Probably not. I mean, bearing in mind you're talking to the guy that stepped out on Loki. I haven't seen Loki the whole thing. I've only seen episode 2, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. So, and look how long it took me to see Wakanda Forgettable. And I've only just recently seen Dial of Destiny, so I'm not exactly the most up to date with these things.
Yeah. You're one of those guys that if it doesn't capture you within the first episode or first 15 minutes, you're done. You're like,
Yeah. I think I am. I think I need to be engaged. I mean, Dial of Destiny, fair enough, it has its history with Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones and stuff, so you give that some more leeway. But the movie, I thought Dial of Destiny has changed up a little bit. I thought that was it was bang average. I missed the physical stunts. I absolutely thought the movie lacked all of that, and you could tell, when he's in the casino, he pulls out his whip. You could tell it's all CGI. It's like, come on. I mean, every aspect was CGI, even to the point where they had to speed up the car chase to make it look. And it was like, dude, you're doing this on Knight Rider. So I was very disappointed with Dial of Destiny. My expectation levels were kind of medium. I really wanted to be fantastic, so I am a bit behind on this one. Again, my wife's the great barometer on these sort of things. My wife came out and goes, well, I don't think we'll be buying that when it comes out. I think I'll just stick to Raiders. And she was absolutely right with that. So,
yeah, I mean, when it comes to Indiana Jones, Dials of Destiny, I did enjoy it because I went into it thinking, hey, they're going to try and shut this down and make this a last chapter type deal. What I didn't understand was some of the bad guys. So, for instance, there was the one African American girl who was who was part of the FBI, I think.
or
Was it part of
CIA or something like that.
CIA,
Yeah.
something like that, super secret agent girl? But then she just ends up dying. And I was like,
For no
okay,
reason. Yeah, she was
yeah,
great.
like yeah. She. I was like, okay, maybe they're gonna do a handoff, right? Because you had her, then you had his goddaughter. And then you also had that kid that was the big master thief. And I was like, okay, maybe they're gonna do some type of freaking handoff, but no, they killed the girl. No, I just didn't understand that whole thing of what was like. Okay, after this, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're just doing nothing. Okay.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned Secret Invasion was timely. I think Dial of Destiny is hugely polarizing for people who don't understand the writers' strike or the Hollywood strike at the minute. Dial of Destiny is exactly the reason why people are on strike. It could have been for the young Indiana Jones elements of the movie. It could have been absolutely anybody that was in the uniform who had their face CGI'd into a young Harrison Ford. Even that they got wrong. The CGI'd him into Han Solo, not Indiana Jones, somewhere along the lines. The two are distinctly different. And I think, the big hulking guy, he was a CGI thing. And so all this, as I mentioned, the stunts are all CGI. So that's stuntmen out of work, special effects places, physical effects places are out of work. So I think Dial of Destiny could be the linchpin for this whole AI in entertainment. The fact that they could
So
actually get away with, I could have been in that movie as Indiana Jones.
yeah.
And it just
So
doesn't work because when he opens his mouth, he sounds like an old man still. So
right. So I do want to be clear and make sure we do put the facts out. The SAG-AFTRA, which is the Writers Guild for the writers, that has partnered up with the Guild for the actors, they have used AI as a flagship for their argument, right? But when we look at what the actual papers say, like what they're actual signing and putting out, and I'm talking about from AIMPT versus SAG-AFTRA, it's a little bit, it's definitely a lot more than that, right? It goes more into splitting of the revenues for different things that were not chased out before. The SAG-AFTRA, they definitely wanted more shares overall, and interesting enough, AIMPT, that's the one for the producers, the studios. They say, yeah, we've raised it all across the board to include your foreign partners, right? So, for instance, manga, anime, um, live action stuff for across the pond, live action for like India and all that stuff. They made that as a major point that they rose the price, and that's an interesting point because it's definitely a lot cheaper for them to just go across the pond and just buy that stuff.
Mm.
Um, but they have been definitely that should be like an easy deal. Oh, you've rose the money for our partners, all right, but they've been actually fighting that because they know that if the producers get enough money, more money for that stuff, of course I'm going to go across the pond. Of course I'm going to get more money to the UK. That's another one. Game of Thrones should be getting a lot more money if you go by their IP license revenue. Japan animation should be getting a lot more money. So it's very interesting that SAG-AFTRA wants to freaking bind AIMPT and not let them spend more money on other stuff. So it's weird, and well, it's not weird. It's just interesting, and though AIMPT, they definitely haven't made all the right moves to not get portrayed as the bad guy. They've got some valid points, but so yeah, Dal of Destiny, man, freaking. I think it was a proper way to send the old guy off, right? But I would have thought that they would have been, finding a way to do a handoff to the future or spin up more other stories of old classic stories of Indy freaking doing this thing.
Yeah,
but they didn't do that. So I don't know, man.
I don't know. I think I can. I could have lived without. I could have lived without it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know.
That said, it's better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So
Yes, which that probably should have came out now, right? With all the alien talks, right?
Yeah.
I think people, it's people would have been a lot more, receptive to all that. Like, oh, they've already been here. They've already been here all along. Okay, gotcha. But now they were like, oh, that's crazy. Crystal skulls and aliens and all that stuff. They were not having that. So, it's tough, man. Did we? Let's see. Fat Ashley. Where are we at? Oh, so speaking of the whole SAG-AFTRA thing, the interesting thing that they started putting out this week is, Bud, they've been talking to people just like you and I, and they say that we are not allowed to scab.
We're not allowed to what?
Scab. So
What's scab?
Scab means they don't want us to cross the line.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
So
Cross
and
what line?
we got to let the professor know that as he's going off to Terrific Con or wherever he else is going, he is not allowed to cosplay as any superheroes because that would be crossing the line.
Really?
Yes. If he ever hopes to join the union and become an actor someday, we're not allowed to cosplay. We technically shouldn't even be talking about any Marvel, according to the papers they put out. We shouldn't even be talking about Disney Marvel at this point, or promoting their stuff, or cosplaying. That's what they're saying. So we are currently scabbing right now, Johnny.
Well, as neither Marvel nor Hollywood pay my wages to do this, I don't think it's a massive issue to deal with, to be honest.
I heard they have really great healthcare.
Well, what can I say? What can I say? I'm in the UK. I have national health. I'm all right. Right, we'll take a break before we move on to some comic books. I think there's been a couple of there's been one big drop for sure this week, and a couple of oh my god, why are we reading this books? But hey ho. Right, so an advert. Where shall we go? We'll keep it quick. Check it out. It's the Old Timers.
Do you want to find out what makes the professor do his happy dance? Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, only on the UCPN.
Timers Comic Book Show. We can't have MPP without the Professor somewhere. That show drops the Wednesday directly after us. There you go. The next episode features the return of the 13th Crusader. Booyah. Excellent. All right. So, first up on this week's comics, where are we going, Lucas?
Let's do Avengers Beyond.
Right. The final issue. The oh my god, I'm so glad this is over issue. So this is a bit harsh. Written by Derek Landy, Greg Land is on art, inks are by Jay Liston, Frank Diamata is on colours, and VC's Joe Caramanga has been on the letters. Pretty much as with Secret Invasion, by the end of this book, all is as it once was. No change, apart from the Beyonder, who is now a nebulous being. Do I care that much about it? Well, you know what? For a long while, the Professor was banging on about how the Avengers books don't have the Avengers in it. You can't argue with that with this book. The Avengers are all in this all the time, so that's pretty good. Greg Land's art's not as tight, I don't think, this time around as it is in previous issues. And towards the end of the book, it appears that the Ocean Master turns up. Don't know what that's all about. Go check it out. It's exactly him. All he needs is a trident, and it's him.
Yeah.
For sure. It's Avengers by the numbers, if anything. I did like the tete-a-tete between Captain Marvel and her little nemesis calling each other princess. That was quite cool. But other than that, although there is an absolutely horrible lift in this, I don't know if you can call it a lift. What do you call it? What do you call it when an artist homages themselves? What's
Retread.
that?
I don't know.
Yeah,
retread. Yeah.
So there's a panel of Captain Marvel hitting her hand like this, like that, halfway in the book. And it's the exact same pose from Spider-Woman #4, drawn by Greg Land. All right. And if you don't spot it, you're blind. All right. If you do spot it, you'll be like shaking your head like me, thinking, "Really, Greg Land? Really? Can we not do better than this?" Mm-hmm. Lucas, thoughts?
So I started reading it, and then I started thinking, "Oh, mate, is this a crossover with DC's Night Terrors?" For those that don't know, all the heroes in DC, they're fighting this guy Insomnia, and he's just bringing up their most terrible freaking nightmares and everything. And that's what I thought because right when we were dealing with the Twilight Court, I believe they're called, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing all types of crazy stuff. They're tearing up the freaking city, and a lot of these characters actually look exactly like some of the characters that I'm looking at inside of Night Terrors. So I was very confused for a while, that's why I gotta stop drinking and freaking reading at the same time, man. I gotta maybe take two less sips.
I'll take more. Maybe it makes more sense if you drink more.
Yeah, exactly, right. So there's needs to be the problem. I guess the problem that I have is, hey, if you want to have a bunch of monsters destroy the city and have the Avengers fight it, okay, great, I'm down with that. But have little less bubbles, like the little word bubbles, because if there's no new information in the word bubbles that is not necessary to the story. Why are you forcing my old ass to read all this stuff? There was like pages and pages of stuff where there was like no new information. I could just and it covers up the art, right? It covers up. There's a vibe that has to be to the art, and just let the art flow through me. Let me get inside. Instead, I'm sitting there trying to read what the heck is going on and see if it has anything to do with what's going on, right? And I'll put that on the designer and who was the letterer, Corey Petit. Terrible stuff. Yeah.
I thought it was Joe Caramanga. Is it not? I got the wrong credits.
Or did I mess up? Oh no.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. No. I messed up. Let's see. Nope. It is Joe Caramanga. Yep. Joe Caramanga. Assistant editor was Bird. So yeah, I mean, that's where I felt like, right. So we've actually been covering this whole Avengers Beyond title for a couple of issues. You know, there was a
Yeah, we won't be doing that
with the
anymore.
Beyond there. Yeah. So, and thank God this is the last one, because once again, after all this, after everything, like you said, it's just gonna go. Eventually, it's just gonna go back to same quota, right? And I don't understand, because wasn't there just an Avengers Beyond title that was like the volume whatever before this, where there was like a whole
Yeah.
bunch of different Avengers and everything. So I'm not understanding. I'm glad that they decided to actually put actual Avengers in their own book, but it should just be Avengers, not Avengers Beyond. So it's weird, right?
Cool. Excellent.
So yeah, so I mean, $3.99. That's the cheapest book that Avengers that Marvel is putting out this week. So okay, fine. It's the same old Avengers against a guy against an ugly guy, who needs to go to the dentist, get his jaw fixed and everything, and then you got the sneaky guy who's doing a bunch of bad stuff for no reason, and it's just the same old formula, right?
Right.
Just need a little less of the word bubbles to let the action flow, and then we're whipping straight.
There you go. There is no correlation between cheap ideas and the cheapness of the book at all.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So I was a little confused as well by the fact that in the opening series you did have like Ben Grimm and Sue Storm,
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and Cyclops, like just laying on the floor. I was a little confused by what was
I
going
was
on.
like,
with
when did that happen? I must admit, I assumed it must have happened in an earlier book somewhere, because we've seen a couple of these issues. We haven't read the whole thing, so.
Yeah, and that goes back to my hammering point. Is like, okay, you're giving me all these freaking word bubbles, but it doesn't explain why these people are passed out on the floor. Did they get a hold of some Bill Cosby freaking punch? What the heck is going on? Like, why do you have Sue Storm ass up and you get the rest of the guys face up? I don't understand. What are we doing here? But all right, yeah.
Maybe Ben Grimm's trying to get his rocks off.
Well, I don't know, but it could be. But he's the one that's passed face up with his mouth open. So I don't know, man. It's weird.
Well, it's comic book, isn't it? Cool. So yeah, if you followed the series, fine, go with it. If you haven't, this is not probably the best jumping on point, because it's done now. It's entirely up to you whether or not you go back and read the other issues. I guarantee there will be a pesky little trade paperback coming out, no doubt. It is Marvel after all. Cool. Good show. Cool. What's next?
What if
Spider-Gwen? So I picked this book. For that I am genuinely very, very, very sorry. This book appeared on my to review list for Comic Crusaders, and I looked at it and I was like, nope, I'm not even going to give any sort of credence to this. However, in a slow week, talk about slow week. There was Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers, which we talked about, Avengers Beyond, which we talked about. Ton of Star Wars stuff came out this week. So this is the Dark Spider-Gwen. Written, it's plot by Jerry Conway and Jody Houser, script by Jody Houser. In fact, the script's not so bad, if honestly. So Jody you've made a bit of a silk purse out of this pig's ear. The art by Raymond F. Bax is horrendous. D. Cunliffe's colours are fine. VC's Ariana Maya is on letters. Now, it starts off and it's the death of Gwen Stacy. The traditional classic art is there, the whole premise. She gets kicked off the George Washington Bridge, and at which point something changes. That's right, the art changes. It's horrendous. It's ugly. It's oh my god. Now I know people don't mean to make bad comic books, but for Christ's sakes, if you're going to draw somebody like Spider-Man, can you make it look like Spider-Man? It is awful. The art is terrible. And anyway, the story is Spider-Man ends up getting killed saving Gwen. Gwen takes off his mask, and in a fit of blonde pithiness decides that she is going to replace Spider-Man and bring the Goblin to justice. To do so, she rings Harry up to help her because she has no spider powers, although she is armed with a web shooter or two. And from there on in, it kind of goes a bit bonkers. The good parts of this book are the Harry and Norman bits, especially when Harry kills Norman and then blames Gwen, setting him on his own villainy as the next Green Goblin. That makes a ton of sense. What doesn't make sense is Gwen Stacy walking around in a Spider-Man suit with no spider powers. This must be the only version of the non-spider Gwen. So basically, what we call her is just Gwen, because that's all she is. She's just Gwen. And on top of that, when the big reveal comes and she takes off the coat to reveal that she's the new spider person, the suit is horrendous. She looks absolutely awful. Fair enough, Gregland might want to sexualize Sue Storm with her ass in the air. I get that. But this is just terrible. This is ugly, ugly, ugly art. Raymond F. Baxter does well with the faces in the conversation pieces, but for the action shots, it is terrible. Honestly, how much is this book? Is it $4.99? You'd be better off. You would be better served saving your money than go and finding the original What If Gwen Stacy hadn't died issue from the What If Volume 1. It won't be that much, I don't think. But I swear this book is just a void like the plague.
So,
and now Lucas is going to come and agree with me. Excellent.
The book of the week was What If Dark Gwen, and I say that because let me take this off so you can see. It was this bad boy here, which was a 1 in 100 done by Rose Beige. It is currently going for $175 off the rip, because people love this cover so much, and it might even go up even more depending on who else is willing to spend that type of money. Right. Everybody understood that what's going on in the book is pretty crazy. It was very non-necessary, but at least it's something. As far as the interior to the book, I agree with you, but I see where they were going with it. Like first started with the old stuff, and then they were trying as much as they can to kind of meld that same old style of big action. Very clear word bubbles of what the heck was going on. Very succinct bubbles like, hey, this is what this person's thinking. This is the vibe we're trying to carry on to this freaking page. Very big departure from what I just read in the Beyond, right? So it was like, okay, here's what she's thinking, and then, hey, here's a gun. Okay, she's got a gun. What the hell is she going to do with that gun? Makes me actually want to go to the next page and see what the heck is going on. Or in one page, they dropped her like, hey, she's got freaking Peter's freaking costume. What the hell is she going to do with the next costume? And there was a very succinct formula that actually made sense here. And it does remind me of some of the old stuff of how. So I find it very readable. Departure from the way that the art was trying to fit with what they were doing. I would like to see, Marvel return to some of this, especially in a lot of their books, because once again, it's a lot easier to read than a lot of the other stuff that they put out this week. So I'm fine with it. I'm good. They gave me an easy to read book for my crayon eating behind, and they gave me good cover art, something new, and good reading style. So I'm good with this one.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
there you go. A difference of opinion.
Well, no, so I do agree with your opinion, because you did put out like what you didn't like about it. But
yeah.
I feel like I understand where they were going with it, and it was very intentional with what you didn't like.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a great shout. Great shout. I don't think I'd spend $175 on the book just for the cover though. That's
Yeah,
bonkers. That is bonkers.
yeah. People definitely love Rose Beige. It's between right now. There's three really
I don't
great
mind the
artists
cover
that are
that's
on
on
fire right.
show. I don't
Yeah.
mind the cover on show. To be fair,
This one is a 1 in 25, and I forget who did this one. I don't even know. Actually, maybe I can find out real quickly. It is Mark Aspinall.
oh okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
Mark Aspinall. This one is and it's a 1 in 25, but nobody's biting. Nobody's biting on that cover yet, unless they do something really really big with that one.
Right. All right. So the big book that dropped this week, the I suppose biggest with impact, has to be the glorious return of Miss Marvel in the Hellfire Gala #1 2023. Now, if you're sitting comfortably, I will go through your credits. It is written by Jerry Duggan. Yes, tick. That's done. Art. Whew, here we go. You ready? Adam Kubert, Luciano Vecchio, Matteo Lolli, Russell Douterman, Javier Pina, RB Silva, Joshua Casara, Chris Anker, and Pepe Larraz are your artists. Rain Burrido, CC De La Cruz, Matthew Wilson, Eric Archiniga, and Marte Gracia is color artists. Lettering is virtual calligraphy. Designed Tom Muller with Jay Bowen. There is a host of covers from Phil Noto, George Perez, and Edgar Delgado have a next vote one. Marshall Ahmed is the Hellfire Gala spoiler cover. Lucas Wernick is on Stormbreakers. J. Scott Campbell and Sabine Rich, who is probably the one that I would go for if I had the chance, is the anniversary issue. And then finally off is Gustav Dorato, or Durat, I don't know how you pronounce that, Duarte, who's the Howard the Duck variant. So shed loads of stuff going on. There is a God's Interlude, which you've seen that already through free comic book tips, so I'm not going to go into that. Lucas, this is your call.
Yes.
A late call into the show, but it is an absolute beaut pick. I have to say, this was a roller coaster.
Right. And we didn't see it coming, right? So
Yeah.
here's the deal: we knew prior to this coming out that she was coming back, and she was coming back as a mutant. But we thought she would be coming back in her own book because there's one that's actually on FOC this week. It's the Miss Marvel mutant, whatever #1. Freaking, that's on FOC this week, so it should be out in like a month or so. So we were thinking, okay, no, it's not. They're not going to bring her back now. They're going to bring her back later. Well, they decided no, they're going to bring her back a couple weeks after they killed her off, right? And they killed her off with what? Amazing Spider-Man #26, I believe.
Yep.
That one was right. And then we just had the memorial service for her and Fallen Friend #1. So that was for me. That was an amazing read. I loved reading that one. That was a really heartfelt gotcha. So I was like, oh crap, maybe they're really going to try and like close it out, but no, right after that, they just did the whole
switcheroo.
mutant thing, right? So what we're looking at right now is they decided, hey, oh, by the way, back in the day, they figured out that she was a mutant, so we get to go into her mind and record her stuff on Cerebro, and then they're like, hey, should we tell her? And they're like, oh, well, we'll tell her sooner or later. And then they never got around to it, and then, oh, lo and behold, they were able to bring her back. But here's the problem with that. Like, it's okay, you brought her back and everything, but did you ask her parents first? Right?
Ask her what?
Like, ask her parents.
Do you mind if we bring your daughter back from the dead? No, I don't bring her back. I've changed the room into a gym.
Yeah. So you gotta remember, right? She is Muslim, right? And in certain things, it's like, hey, certain religions that are out there do believe that if God wanted you to die, he wanted you to stay dead, right? Or if he made you sick, he may have wanted you to stay sick. And there was a reason, right? Because this is, in certain religions, this is not the end, right? This is just a route to the end, right? So maybe they should have gone to her parents first and just like, hey, we have the ability to, and kind of break it down for them, right?
You know what? That's a really good shot. I never even thought of that, Lucas. Well spotted, sir. Well spotted.
Yeah. But they just went ahead and did their thing for their own purposes, right? And okay, all right, let's see how it plays out. If they don't bring that up at some point, if they just keep going like, oh, everything's going to be crazy cool. They are not understanding, and they should not be writing this. Which is why I do want to see. Because the young lady that plays Miss Marvel in MCU, she will be writing the next one. She will be writing the Miss Marvel series when it comes out. So let's see if she addresses that. Hopefully she does.
That's
So
just one aspect though of this book. There is
several
a
aspects.
ton. There is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I will say this before we get into your point. There is, if you're a leg fan, you like legs. There are plenty of legs.
Yeah. So what I don't understand is how. I gotta ask the question, like, how old is she? Is she like 15, 16? Because she looks like she woke up as like a 22-year-old woman. Like, I'm not sure what's going on, man. She woke up with lipstick on, her hair done, her nails were done, legs are out there. I don't know. She woke up in a kimono.
I was just talking about hers. I was talking about there's loads of legs all over the place. But I will say that the change of artist throughout the book does not help the continuity of your eye. Some of it's really good. Some of it's kind of abstract in ways. Some of it's just loud because it does get crazy in the book massively.
So they wake her up. She breaks out of the egg. And they're trying to kind of slowly bring her into it and get her to understand what's going on. Of course, she's got a few questions. And they tell her, hey, there's a gala. It's happening tonight, right? And they don't give her any, and we want you to come, so they fix her up. During the gala, Orcus, supplied by Mr. Sinister, but it's not Mr. Sinister. It's like Mr. Sinister with speed and everything. I forget what his actual name is.
Nathan Essex, is it not?
Yeah,
Nathaniel Essex. Is that right?
Right. Yes, it is Nathaniel. It's a copy of Nathaniel Essex, but there's four of them, right? And four different ones have different names, and I forget what those different names are. So, but yeah, they attack. They attack the gala. One of the new gods, new gods, he shows up. And they got to handle the thing. So this would actually be her first fight as a mutant or an X-Men. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They decided, hey, wake her up, and boom, you're actually in the fight already. So they take care of that whole thing, kinda, right? They get stabilized and everything. And I'm still trying to work through like what does this all mean? Because it was a long book, right? I forget how much this book was, right? But I do like her new look in the gala uniform. Like, I don't know, they probably should have gave her like some type of other uniform. They're definitely going to give her a new uniform to fight through. But the other thing is, so they become kind of overwhelmed with the fighting force. Was it Rogue, or who was it that took Xavier away from the fight?
Rogue.
Is it Rogue? Okay.
Yeah.
So she takes them away from the fight so they can, take care of everything. But apparently, as she got close to the beachhead to leave them off so she could go back and fight, something happens, and I guess all the mutants were trying to get out through the gates. But as they were going through the gates, they all
So I read this, and what essentially happens is that the idea here is Sinister and Moira have been encoding the Krakoan medicines, which means that if they do something, they hit the code, it can kill everybody who's been taking the Krakoan medicines. And we know from previous galas, people like Mary Jane's aunt has been taking it for whatever. So a whole bunch of human people have been taking this medicine. So they have a big battle, and Some people die, some people don't. Go read it to find out who's who. But the Sinister gives Xavier a choice. He can send the mutants. All the gates have been turned out to space, um, and they've said you've got to force the mutants to go through the gates, or we'll kill all the humans. So he commands all the mutants to do that. Now, some of the mutants, some of the X-Men have got shields, which is where this whole resist thing comes up to, and they manage to resist going through the gate and escape separately. They end up in a gateway, sort of like a waiting room type place, and they can't get back through the other gate, so they'll have to escape from that somewhere along the line. Whilst this is happening, events that lead to Uncanny Avengers is also happening. So you saw this in Free Comic Book Day. Steve Rogers gets attacked. Rogue turns up to save him. That's alluded to in here.
Yeah.
Destiny and Mystique's fight from Free Comic Book Day. That's alluded to in here. You've got the Miss Marvel thing going on. This is a hugely connected book to the Marvel Universe, and it is the fall of the mutants. When you look at if you look at the mutants that fall, some of these are not the standing guys that have just been who make up the crowd, so to speak. There are some absolute big hitters that fall. It is absolutely. I hope this is it. I hope that this is it. We're done with Krakoa now. We can move on and go from there. And it's been a long time coming. I'll be interested to see how they bring some of them back, because it is superheroes. So, one dies. You need to keep an eye on the 5. Do they make it out? Do they manage to take a resurrection egg with them? Who knows? Just read the book. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So I guess I'm the maybe the solo guy that likes the idea of Krakoa, right? What they try to do with Krakoa, because
I like Krakoa. I just think it went on too long. It seems like we've talked about this before. It seems like every time we talk about an X-Men book, it's always sitting around the council talking about stuff.
Yeah.
I must have read the same issue 14 times.
Yeah, and they talked about the same stuff over and over and over again, but with no reservation, right? So
this is your resolution.
Yeah, so so kill everybody. Kill everybody as a resolution, right?
Kill them all.
So what I did like about it is that there was a pecking order to Krakoa, right? You had the 5, right, and they put out flat, like, hey, this is what I want to happen, and and they could tell from what was happening at the table why something was going to happen, where a certain thing was going to happen, where the conflicts were. There was actual reasons for different conflicts. Hey, we want this person back. Well, I don't want that person brought back because they did this back in the day, or we're not going to bring this person up to the front of the line because we got these million other people, right? So I like that type of internal freaking struggle. I like that. So with this whole fallen X-Men thing, it's crazy because Krakoa's fallen, right? X-Men fallen, right? Okay, so and the technology doesn't really go away. It's still out there. Or is it going to be a full-on coup right now, and then certain people want to take over the whole technology and the 5 and all that other stuff? So that's what I want to see, is like who takes over what, right? Because I was definitely loving where they were going with certain things, even though they got down. They was like, okay, this is what we're. So for instance, they had a technology department. That would be the 5, of course. They had a science technology. They had a defensive. They had a spy department, right? So I was like, okay, that actually. I mean, they have books for each of those different things, but it's like, okay, those are great ideas. You got a nation. Show me the different pieces of those nations, but they didn't have actual stories for those freaking books. They just say, hey, this person's going to go off do this. Kurt, he's going to be a pastor. He's going to be the Pope or whatever. But it's like, okay, but you didn't really have a story to freaking tell of him doing all this. You just, it was weird. So maybe this is the kick in the pants that they're going to need to actually have actual stories. But I definitely agree with you. This is a big book. There was a lot of big stuff happening with it. This is a weekend read. This is not a couple of hours read. This is a weekend read, going through all the art, going through all the word bubbles, trying to understand what is going on. The Miss Marvel coming back, that was definitely a big drop, a big surprise. Like hardly anybody knew about it, unless you had an advanced copy, and we didn't even you and I mean, I didn't have an advanced copy, right?
Mm.
So the crazy thing is the book that I have up here, I don't even remember on this coming up on FOC, so maybe this came later. Because if this comes up, if we see this, then we know, okay, maybe Miss Marvel is in a book.
Mm.
But we didn't. I didn't see this, so this was missed by a lot of people. So we'll see. So don't forget the the ramifications of this, right? Remember, so the old Miss Marvel died. So the one that we have right now, that's a totally different Miss Marvel. It's a clone.
Mm.
So it's a new character because also remember the old one had different powers. The new one has totally different powers. She has mutant powers. So once again, two totally different people. So this is a book that people might want to freaking pick up and grab.
Mm. Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. There you
I
go.
don't know.
Cool. Excellent. Cool. You know what time it is, Lucas?
Boom, boom, boom. All right, we talked about the movies earlier, Secret Invasion, Indiana Jones, whereas none of that is to be found. Mission Impossible, which does have a comic book, is out there. It's forecast to have 13 million to give 142 million at the end of the day. And Indiana Jones and the Dollar of Destiny, the one that we actually just talked about, is still slated to have 168 worldwide, 4.9 million this coming weekend. So it's still fighting for its life. The one Marvel movie that you need to watch, Johnny, is Haunted Mansion. That is a Marvel freaking thing. I don't
Disney
know.
thing, is it not?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see it. If I can, I'll drag the wife and kids to see it because once again I do want to see. This is something that I've been saying, like, okay, people are kind of pulling back on the superhero stuff. They want to see more of the other stuff that Marvel and Disney can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that if this Haunted Mansion does well, and it doesn't look like it's doing too well right now because it's only got 28 million, people are gonna. I mean, Marvel can go that way. They can go that horror route, which is what I kind of really want them to do.
It's a remake. It's a remake of an older film,
Yep.
and the guys who did Pirates of the Caribbean are in on this. So if you like, I imagine it's going to be that type of thing. If you are anti
That would be
CGI,
amazing.
I would imagine that you're probably not going to enjoy it that much. But
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, that would be amazing, man. Freaking, but they don't have that Johnny Depp, Captain
Yeah.
Jack type freaking character.
So here's a question for you: we're classed as scabs talking about this sort of stuff. Are we not classed as scabs for going to the cinema to watch the movies?
So they did say that they would rather people not watch the movies, not watch the streaming, to stand in solidarity with them. Like, no, excuse me, no, I've been paying $9.99, $14.99 for all this stuff. I'm going to go. You can't just put it on me like that. Like, look.
Yeah.
I got to spend time with my family, and I would rather spend time without having to talk to them the whole time.
On that note.
Time Warp Comics. They got broken into. It's a store in Boulder, Colorado. There are several Marvel titles on here, so please keep an eye out for some of these. They estimated it's about $13,000 that these comic books are worth. Air Force 2 is some 122, Miss Marvel #1.
What's so special about Air Force number 2?
First, yes, yep.
Okay.
Moon Girl #1, first appearance of Moon Girl. Daredevil 168. Was that? Oh, that's not the first Elektra.
It is. It's around that time.
Spider-Man #11. We actually looked that one up. That one has the a signature by Stan Lee and a couple of other people that are actually passed away right now. So that is a very non-replicable book. Very, very interesting. And then, of course, Ultimate Fallout 4. That was the first appearance of Miles Morales. But I haven't looked it up to see if that was that Desertovic variant. Some highlights from this past week. Marvel New Gods. So this is not an actual book. This is a preview. So if you went to your local comic book store, they would have probably put in a previews book inside your bag with you. In the beginning in the first like 3 or 4, maybe 5 pages of the freaking book, there's a little story, It has a bunch of first appearance of the neat GODS.
Is it the first appearance? Because there was plenty of elements of this in the Free Comic Book Day comics.
I don't exactly this guy, the guy that's on the cover. He was in the Free Comic Book Day. But the actual, like, some of these other characters, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back to that Free Comic Book Day one and match it up and see.
Okay.
It's all of the same characters, because there's quite a few more characters that I was tracking. There were a thing. So I'm gonna have to go back and check that.
Okay, cool.
So
I am Groot. Oh no, it's not Groot. It's the other one.
yeah, this is Thanos. This is a 2-foot statue. How much, sir, would you pay for a 2-foot statue of Thanos?
£10.50.
How much? I don't know how much that is
I
in
don't know.
dollars. However,
I don't know. I'd say something around the region of $750. It'll probably go for
$750. Okay, yep, close, because each of the stones inside the glove is $65,000.
Whoa!
Yeah, $65,000 for each of the stones. Now there are different variants out there where some of the stones might be $1,500, but the biggest one out there is this one that $65,000 for each personal stone. One of the stones is a 25-karat diamond that just fits in there. And
where would you put that? You wouldn't put it on your landing, would you?
You would put it in the vault where they keep the ark. Alone. So also that came out was Venom Volume 5, number 23, cover E, variant Kafu, spoiler cover. First appearance of Black Widow with the Venom, but she didn't. But in this particular issue, the symbiote doesn't take her body over. It just kind of drips her on her arm, which means it'll probably take her body over in like the second volume or something like that. Okay. I do want to. A lot of it's sold out in a lot of places. Some of the other stores have said, "Hey, it's only limited for one per customer." But what I will say is that this is not the first time that she's been taken over by the Clintar symbiote, because in Black Widow number 4, right there on the cover, right there, you can fully see that she was taken over by the Venom variant there.
Cool.
Venom 5 number 23, cover M, Insignia Virgin variant. There is a new bad guy that was in this one. We don't have a number value on this one, so we'll see what's going on with this one. Black Panther volume 9, number 1, second print by Raza. This one is a kind of like a virgin variant of this one. First appearance of Beza, a new character in there, but we're not sure whether it's bad or good. I guess we'll see in the upcoming ones. Incredible Hulk volume 5, number 2, cover D. A Lionel Francis Yu variant. Lionel Yu has been on fire lately, but this one is special because this young lady right here, who just happened to kill her father in the first issue, this is going to be her first cover appearance. So we're still waiting to see what the deal with her is, but for right now, people are kind of intrigued by where they're going with it in this story. Scarlet Witch, annual number 1, second print, is into Jem Chung variant. Just sold out. Apparently, people really like this variant, so it just sold out. And then Star Wars Darth Vader Black, White, and Red, number 4, cover C, Kevin Eastman. Kevin Eastman, the creator of Ninja Turtles.
Yep, co-creator.
Some people love it, some people like it, but whatever, it's sold out. So it is what it is. Star Wars Return of the Jedi, the Real Ability number 1, cover
It's
E.
a trap.
Yes, sir. This is a 1-100. It's currently going for 120 right now, because once again, retailers didn't order enough of these. And then, of course, this one is one for 175. What If Dark Spider-Gwen number 1, cover D incentive, rolls base 175, going for 175.
Bonkers. She's not even in the bloody costume in the comic book.
Yeah. Here are the ones that are on FOC this week very quickly. Star Wars Hyper-Based Stories. I love this one. This is the cover B Nord with the Wrath of Kylo Ren on the cover. Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider number 4, done by Ben Harvey.
Is that the last episode of issue of that?
Next to last one. So there's one more issue after this one.
Okay.
Deadpool Better Blood number 3. This is a Rob Liefeld. It does have Venom Pole inside of the covers. Cult of Carnage Misery number 4 by Scan. Deadpool Better Blood number 3, Rod Race. There is a lot of confusion going on because Shatterstorm died in one of the last issues. Yet here she is on the cover, so we gotta see what the heck is going on. Death of Venomverse number 3 is a design variant for Madam Venom design. Madam Venom. And Blade number 2, 125 by Mateus Menaheny. I don't particularly like this one because it looks like a sick Luther Vandross, right?
The trousers are a bit wrong in the crotch. The angle's wrong. It's like there is no crotch. It's like just 2 legs. Where's his middle bit? Anyway, carry on.
This is same title by Bill Sikowitz. Daredevil number 1 in 100 by Frank Miller.
I was gonna say it looks like Miller.
And there's also 1 in 100 by Echikuri, Virgin variant. 1 in 25 by Pepe Larraz.
There you go. That's what you want.
Death of Venomverse number 3, 1 in 10. And there's also a 1 in 50 that is a Virgin. 1 in 50 by Philip Tan. Alex Lozano foil variant. Amazing Spider-Man number 31. There's going to be a second print with a 1 in 25, which is weird that they are soliciting this already when this first print has not even come out. It doesn't come out till August. And I have seen some strong sales for this one, so people are definitely interested in this one. This is the second print by Ramos. 1 in 25 by David Marquez for Blade number 1. And there's your second print by Elena Casagrande. There's your Moon Knight. I forget what number 1. I think it's number 1 second print by Alec Maleev. And then there is your X-Men, Miss Marvel, Mutant on the cover, 1 in 100 art germ. And that, sir, is going to be.
That's your 2-minute warning.
That's your 2-minute warning, man.
2 minutes. Excellent, cool. There you go. So we've talked about movies, we've talked about TV shows, we've talked about comic books, and you've got to see some of the up-and-coming future attractions. As always, Luke, it's a full show, my friend.
Thank you very much, man. Can't wait to see. Well, what are we going to talk about next? Because now we don't have Secret Invasion. All the movies that come out.
Marvel's due in a couple of months, is it not? When's Ahsoka due to drop?
I don't know. I have no clue, man. Freaking.
There you go.
All right, can we plan on that stuff to actually come out on time? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think Ahsoka will drop on time. Captain Marvel has to drop on time because it's been postponed like 14 times already. So the film's done. So it's just a matter of releasing.
I would rather them delay it and make sure that it gets right than have it look crappy when it comes out.
Yeah. Shades of the Flash. Did you see on the before we go? Did you see the news that says that the Flash is destined to make less money than the Green Lantern movie? That's
sad.
That is bad.
With inflation and everything. It's
killing you, man.
That's
killing you.
Well, no. So that's saying something, right? With you got to check out who you're going to have as your lead actor. Right? Yep. Because if your lead actor is going to go out there and do all types of crazy stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to defend the guy, right? And while you're defending the guy, he can't go out and do more crazy stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to children, and like that's really what he was. I mean, when he got into that altercation with that couple, fisticuffs, people were like, whatever, do. We gave him the benefit of the doubt. But once they started to talk about, oh, well, actually, they insinuated that he was kidnapping young girls and doing stuff with young girls, man. And then you're like, oh, who's that guy? And you pull up a freaking photo of him and like got a guy in lipstick and heels. And like, oh, okay, I'm not going to see that trash, right? Mm-hmm. So that's basically people voting with their.
I think certainly, I think people, the person involved has troubles. I think that's a fair way of saying it. I think the movie hasn't done well for a myriad of reasons. One being is that the lead actor is indefensible on some of the actions that they've taken. The other aspect is the movie, the CGI is just not the snuff. And I think the other thing is superhero fatigue, which we've talked about before as well. So I'll put all three together, and that's what you end up with.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Marvel. See if that kind of translates into that book.
So but you got to remember, people were already fed up with the young lady that plays Captain Marvel, right?
Yep.
So they're already fed up with her. So we'll see if because once again we have Miss Marvel, the actress, and people are okay with her. They're like, okay, you're doing great, right? But is her likableness enough to make people pass over the fact that the person who plays Miss Danvers is not likable at all?
It's
going to be a great test.
It is going to be interesting for sure. All right, that's us done for another fortnight. Lucas, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been your. Don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite shows, including you saw the trailer for it earlier. It was, of course, the Old Timers Comic Book Show. And if you wanted to find out what Lucas was talking about with the whole Night Terrors thing, don't forget to check out the Definitive Crusade for all your DC fun and games, although they very rarely talk about movies. There you go. We're done. Lucas, pleasure as always. As I said earlier.
You're trying to find the right button.
No, I'm ready to go. I've been your host, Johnny Machine Hughes, and as always, adios.
Out.